The big stick that's been swung is in the basis of antitrust. The Chinese companies like Alibaba, Baidu, and Tencent were much beloved by investors because they didn't have these antitrust restrictions, as you would find in, say, the Western world. However, they now are being wielded very aggressively by the central government, which will affect profitability, undoubtedly. And as a consequence of that, probably the rating of the stock and so on. So I guess the question to all of this is that if there is a new approach towards the profitability of big Chinese companies, how would this play out in financial markets into the future? I guess you give a rating based on the profitability or the expected profitability of those companies.
That's true. I would expect that investors will assign a higher risk rating to Chinese investments now, because what we're seeing is that China is not a country governed by the rule of law, but by the rule by law. In other words, rules can change very suddenly. Rules which existed in the past but weren't applied might suddenly be applied. They can be applied in quite a draconian fashion or very lightly. And those are things you are not necessarily able to predict properly as an investor. So you might experience many surprises that you didn't see coming. And the reason for that is that the rule of law is a much more flexible concept, we might say, than we understand it to be, maybe in our context. We, as Western investors, might expect to be able to go to the courts if we feel that we've been hard done by, in order to assert our rights in accordance with the laws of the country. But in China, that is much more difficult. I think once the authorities have pronounced that there is a new direction or a tendency to interpret the rules in a different way or to change the rules, that can happen very, very quickly, and that can take you by surprise. So that is, I think, what the outcome of these events is. For investors, they will still see the chance of good returns there, but they need to weight them with a higher risk rating than they did in the past.